everybody. This is Dr. Obie, and you have tuned in to the Power of Transformation broadcast. Tonight, it is January the 17th, 2024, around 7 o'clock on the East Coast. And I am so excited that you've joined us to the Power of Transformation broadcast. Our show is based on Romans 12 and 2, and there's an excerpt that says, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." God can do great things if you're just willing to be transformed. And tonight, we have someone who was in one place when she was our guest before, and the Lord has elevated her. And we're going to talk to her about how God transformed her to this new role. So, you know what we do every week? We want our friends and our family to join us. So we give them a little nudge. Text them, we tag them, and we call them if we can. Tell them that the Power of Transformation broadcast is on with Dr. Paula Obie, and they do not want to miss it. I'm doing the same thing. I promise. We'll be right back.
Pound 5. Pound 5.
Hello, hello, hello. You know, there's a scripture where in Matthew 25:23, where it talks about if you're faithful over the little things, then God has the power to make you ruler over many. And God keeps his word. And what he's saying is if you take care of what I've given you the first assignment, and maybe the second assignment, or the third or fourth, or whatever number it is, it's on the way and he will award you that. And that's kind of the story that we have for our guest tonight. At one time, we talked about her mommy ministry, where she would just drive her kids around and other people's kids, and just she was that chauffeur. And inside of that car, she was also doing mommy ministry. And then the Lord elevated her, promoted her. And now she's here to tell her story about her promotion. I love these kinds of stories. Here's my friend. Dr. Dawn Mason is her name. It says, "Good morning. It's Dr. Dawn." And she's going to tell you what that good morning really means because she's really dedicated to her ministry. She was dedicated to it when she was a mommy ministry. But now that she's Dr. Dawn Mason, I call her Dr. Dawn, she's even more dedicated to the ministry that God has given her. So put your hands together and welcome my friend, Dr. Dawn, to the Power of Transformation. Hello, Dr. Dawn.
Hello, Dr. Paula. How are you?
I'm doing great. You know, when you were here before, we was just fascinated by your mommy ministry and all the conversations you were having in the car with your kids and other folks' kids. And my heart warmed that you cared enough to have that as your sanctuary or your counseling place. But
It still
then
is. It still is.
it is.
Yes, ma'am. That has not changed.
Well, God can depend on you, and He could depend on you then, and He can depend on you now. And you've been elevated, you've been promoted.
Yes,
Let's talk
ma'am.
about your journey. Let's talk about your journey.
So, I am now, as you can see, Dr. Dawn. I just completed my doctoral program at Grace Biblical College, which is located in Kannapolis, North Carolina. And I am now Dr. Dawn Mason. I have a degree in ministry within Christian counseling concentration. Graduation actually for me is this Saturday, January 20th. So I'm quite excited to be on your program today and what's going to be taking place this weekend.
So I'm glad to call you Dr. Don. I'm glad to be one of the first persons to introduce you to the world as Dr. Don. But you know, what we said earlier about open doors. Let's talk about open doors. God loves to open doors and he wants us to walk through them. What gave you the courage to actually walk through this door?
Well, to be truthfully honest, I wasn't expecting this door to be opened, but it just so happens that I was offered the opportunity and I took it. Hold on, can we pause 1 minute?
So you were given an opportunity, and sometimes in life we're given a couple of opportunities, and we have to say, God, is it the right time? Is this what you want us to do? And we have to evaluate ourselves. We have to do all of those things. And I believe that you did that. I believe that when he gets ready to elevate us, he looks and says, what are you doing with what I've already given you? I believe that's his word. And when I read the scriptures, that's his word. And once you pass the test, and he says, okay, you did a great job. You worked through that scenario. Now you're ready. Is that how you feel?
I think so. I think that when I was approached with the opportunity, at first I was a little frightened because it wasn't something that I saw myself doing. Not in Well, I saw myself becoming a doctor, but not necessarily in ministry. And
Mhm.
so it was definitely a faith walk and an interesting journey because, like I said to you earlier, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a minister per se. So for me to
Mhm.
get a doctorate degree in ministry is definitely a stretch for me. And so, but other people were confident that I could do it. And that gave me the motivation to do it because other people believed in me. They was like, you could do it. The dean of the school was my biggest cheerleader. She like, you could do this. And so,
Wow.
yep, she believed in me and I believed in myself. And of course, God obviously believed in me. So here I am.
You had two choices. You could either walk through the door or you could say
Mhm.
no. And it always helps when someone believes in us, and they are saying, encouraging us because they see something in us that sometimes we do not see in ourselves. You said something that was so interesting. You said, well, I'm not a pastor, I'm not this, but God knows who you are. And he knows how he wants to use you in his ministry. So maybe you don't have that title, maybe you don't have the other title, but he created a space for you to be able to minister. Kind of like what you were doing when you were driving those kids around in the car. I think you were ministering then and you're ministering now. How you feel about what I just said?
I would say you're correct. I would say that's very much true. I have had ministers tell me, well, you were ministering all along, even though, not necessarily a pulpit ministry, but definitely ministering to the young people that I encounter. I still do. I still drive them around. I still engage them every day, even when
So
they
how
don't
is
want to
being
hear it.
so how is being Dr. Don in the ministry? How's that changed you? If it has, how's that changed you?
I don't really think it has changed me much because I'm still getting used to it.
Hmm.
I think other people find it more fascinating than I do. Cause I mean, I'm still Dawn, and I'm still getting used to it. That now Dr. Dawn. So it comes with a lot of responsibility too, though, because I'm already getting people requesting stuff of me because they're like, oh, okay. I mean, I think business has picked up for me for the Christian counseling and coaching. I have found a lot of people gravitating to me more than they've been. They'll call or ask me questions. And I welcome it because I think, okay, Lord, this is why you put me through this program because this is what I'm going to be doing. And I've already seen that happening to me. Like, wow.
Hmm.
So this is what this is for. That I
Yes.
now can say, yeah, Dr. Dawn can hang up her shingle as a Christian coach and counselor.
God is so amazing. You people have heard me say that a lot. He in Jeremiah 29:11, he said, he knows the plan he has for us, and I always paraphrase it. He had a plan for you, and he has a plan for you now. And being Dr. Don is just going to open up even more doors. And this is not easy. My journey whew, probably is not like yours, but I can definitely relate to the amount of work that it takes. These are not honorary doctorates. These are real doctors where you had to really put in the work and then be
Hmm.
evaluated for your knowledge in that area. And so when you do graduate, you're so happy for the opportunity, but sometimes you're a little tired.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I heard you
very
say
much
something
tired.
earlier. Mm-hmm.
Very tired. As a
Um,
matter of fact, I think through the whole, because I finished my dissertation right before Christmas. That's all. I didn't do anything. I mean, I went on vacation, but I just really just relaxed. That was my first time in maybe months where I've actually did not have anything to do, and I could just breathe.
mhm, mhm. It's a great responsibility when you are now working in your area of expertise, and people need us to be there and be really good role models for them. And being a good role model should not take a title, but that's just the way the world is organized. This is how people view things. Because you
Mhm.
did take the time to go to school, and your dean was right. This is your calling, and she was right to encourage you. And yes, your life will change forever, but you'll be doing the will of God. Yeah, and you'll be walking into your calling. And that's what others need to see, Dr. Don. They need to see how God will use us. Don't you think?
Yeah, and I think for me, the biggest thing is seeing my children seeing me accomplishing this, because I've always tell them, and I think I've told other people that the biggest thing I always want to see for myself, but also encourage my children to win. And it was important for me to let them see me going to school, getting good grades, as a living testimony that they can do the same thing. That, if it's something that you really want to do it.
Absolutely. What you said is so vital. Now you are a living testimony and an example. And I'm sure they're very proud. I'm sure they're talking to their friends, and you've probably encouraged them. We need encouragement. We need to know that for some of us, against all odds, we were able to achieve something. It's work, but maybe it feels better now that it's over and you've rested a little bit and you can walk in your calling, but you never know how many lives you touch. And definitely in your household, but it's going to spread abroad and you'll be able to touch other lives as well. Doesn't that sound good?
It does. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to definitely the future and seeing what it holds, in this
Yeah.
new role that I have.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of
Mm-hmm.
responsibility comes with it though, but I am up for the challenge, and I am definitely looking forward to being able to help more people and encourage more people, not just here in the states, but definitely, as you said, abroad, the world. The world's favorite Christian counselor coach.
Yes, we're here to make an impact. And when you are obedient, you will make obedient to God and what He says He wants you to do, and you follow His lead, and then you push yourself through it, you will make an impact. He will direct your path, place you in front of a lot of folks who really need to hear from you, people that you need to help. And that's what Jesus did. When He was
Hmm.
here, He hung out with people and He made an impact on their
Yeah,
lives. And that's what He wants us to do as well. Correct?
that is absolutely correct. That is why we are all here, to impact the lives of everybody. We all have different talents, different gifts, and so that is the sole purpose of each of us to be here on this planet is to make a difference in this
Absolutely.
world, whether we know
Abs-
what that is or not. But that is our own, to be truthfully honest, the sole purpose of us being on this earth is to make an impact in
Mhm.
each other's
And I'm
lives.
glad that yeah, I'm glad that you didn't give up. That when she said something to you, you didn't blow her off. Because many times, I'm glad, no, seriously, many times we will blow off an opportunity because we don't feel that it's the right time. Maybe it's not for me. But when I was in your shoes and I made that decision, um, it was a lot of things going on in my life. And most people, as I said earlier, they don't even know that in the beginning I didn't even finish my undergraduate degree after high school. I majored in something that was not my calling. And I didn't finish. I lost my scholarships and I was kind of burdened by it. But I gave myself a promise. I said, "You're going to go back one day. Eventually, you'll find your purpose. And then you'll go and you'll figure it out." With God by my side, He helped me. And when the opportunity presented itself, I completed my undergraduate, I completed my master's. And then when I got the call about the doctoral program, I'm like, I need to go now before I chicken out.
Yeah.
Because I knew that I would need a whole lot of energy to get through it. But boy, it has been my purpose. That obedience has really been good for me. And I think you can relate to that.
Yes,
Was
that is true.
The Bible says that it's better to obey than to sacrifice. And even though I was a little older when I decided to get my education, I felt like the timing was correct. I felt like timing was right. And I've been able to encourage other people. That is, like you said, that's why we're here. That's why we're here. And someone will look at you and look at me and say, if you can do it, so can I. So can I.
Yes,
All right.
that's
So
the goal.
I just that's the goal. And it's the everyday goal. It really is. So I know that you have a couple of other talents. You're multi talented. But I want to talk to you about a communication that I receive every morning. And I think you talked about it a little bit before, but I receive a communication from you.
Hmm.
And it's a very encouraging communication. Absolutely love it. What initiated that? What is it and what initiated it?
Okay, well, I have been writing for over 20 years now. How it began was I was stressed out, and the doctor told me I needed to find a stress reliever. And at the time, I was living in the Washington, D.C. area, and I was on my way to work on the train, and this thought came to my mind. I wrote it down, and then when I got to work, I sent it out to my friends and coworkers, and that's really how it started. But during COVID, um, we all were in the house, and just something said I should send my friends, my sister friends, encouragement. And from 2020 up until now, I've been doing it practically every day. And I would add, of course, as you know, I put music to it, because most of us love music. I know I do. And so usually I either listening to a song, I may think of something to write to go along with it, or sometimes the words are first and then the song comes with it later. So this has been a labor of love for the people that I love, because we all need to feel loved. And so this is my way of showing that I'm thinking of you, and that someone does love you, even if those days you don't feel love. Somebody in the world is thinking about you and loving on you.
And I'm telling you, sometimes you'll send out that communication, motivation, inspiration, and a song, and it's exactly what I needed to read and hear for that day. It jumpstarts my morning, and I may come back later and listen to it. And I'm always amazed how people are able to put things together that have an even greater impact. I'm glad I'm one of the ones that you love because I
Yeah,
look
because everybody
forward.
don't get that. Everybody doesn't get that personal, um, text from me every day. It's a select group of people, and and I asked the Lord about who should I send it to,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Mm-hmm.
those who He said this who needs to get it, those are who needs to get it. I don't. It doesn't go out to everybody, of course, but it is for a select few that God has chosen me to minister to, as you would say, on a daily basis.
On a daily basis. I know it's been such a blessing to me. And there are times when I'll read it, and as I said earlier, I'll go, God, you're listening because you know exactly what I needed. And then, Lady Dawn, now Dr. Dawn, make sure that I receive the word that you've downloaded into her and that I've received it. So I'm very proud to be one of those that are on your exclusive list. Do you plan to continue that, those
I do.
affirmations? And
I do plan to do that. As a matter of fact, I'm working on doing more of it in other platforms. Um, Trying to decide now, which avenues to take. There are a few things that I had started working on years ago that I had not done too much with that I'm looking at picking back up. Doing I was blogging at one time, and so I do plan to go back and doing that. So that may be something on the horizon. People will be able to see that there's a blog out there now. I just don't use it as much as I did, but I do definitely want to go back to doing that because that was definitely getting out there where people could actually subscribe to it and it would be
wow.
online and they could go to it. So we're seeing what's coming down, what the future holds. But I do know that's one of the things that but I do plan to still continue to do my daily text. Um, I have a new Facebook page because my other page was hacked. And I do a lot on there. So now that I have to start from scratch, I'm up for the task. So this is the opportunity for me to rebrand myself, to rebuild my page and rebrand, and I'm always going to be ready. So I think that I'm up for the task. But the things that I share on Facebook, I don't necessarily share in the exclusive list that I send out. They're two different ministries.
Yes, yes. You have been a writer, a communicator, for a while. I'm thankful that you're just continuing to use your talent because we are people. And I was going to ask you, you were right on time. How can we get in contact with you? You said Facebook. Is there any other way, any other area
I
where we can get in
am on,
contact with
of
you?
course, I'm on Facebook and I'm also on Instagram at First
Instagram.
Lady
Okay.
Dawn.
First Lady Di.
Hmm.
So you're
And
going to
you
be
see how the
encouraging.
lady is spelled.
I noticed that. FIRSTLADAY.
Yes, ma'am. First Lady.
So it seems you're going to be an encouragement to the first ladies. Is that how you see your role?
Yeah, I think first ladies, first families, the children too, not just the mothers, but the children if they have children, because it is hard being a first lady. It's hard. It's hard being a mother, period. But when you have first lady duties, um, it becomes even more of a challenge because you got to juggle. And of course, you have to juggle your career, you have to juggle your family, you got church to juggle, and everybody is pulling on you. And usually, it's the mother that they're pulling on. There's a cartoon that they have out where the mom has a list of questions, and on the other side, the dad has one question, and it says, "Where is mom?"
Yeah.
And I sent that to my children because it's true. He could be sitting right there, and I could be in another room and be asleep, and they will come find me and wake me up. And so definitely be able to encourage first ladies, and like I said, encourage all the women in the church as well as their children. That's the goal. To be truthfully honest, as my children say, that's the goal.
Hmm. 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 And young people love you. but you have an impact on the older folks too, right?
I think so. I think pretty much. I think I would say everybody. I don't think anybody is excluded.
Good, good. So everybody gets the opportunity to learn from your wisdom, to be counseled. You've been preparing for this for a while, and
Yeah.
now you're ready to. And one of the times I think I heard you say that this actually was kind of like a career switch for you because you hadn't really planned to go this route, but then you made up your mind that this was the best route for you. Look how God works. That's how He works. We think we
Yes.
should go down, Highway 85, and He's like, no, I need for you to go down Highway 70 because that's where you're going to be the most impactful. And when
Mm-hmm.
we trust that plan, that's when we're going to be who He created us to be. So I'm very proud of you on that. So what else do you have to share with us? I know you said something about hopefully getting back into writing. I don't know how you're going to find the time to do all of this. You're going to do it in your sleep?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I think I do a lot. You'd be surprised. I am up every day around 2 o'clock. I used to get up around 2 o'clock to write because that's when the house is quiet. And now I find myself up 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning thinking about things. That's usually what I get the most motivation for my own self is those wee hours in the morning when the house is quiet. So yeah, I probably will be writing in my sleep. Uh,
I don't
because
think
I
that was
had
how it was. I don't think God intends it to be that way, but I was just teasing you, but I do understand. And what you're saying, I want to rewind for just a half second. Whenever you're called to do something, you put a lot of energy into it. And sometimes there are days when you might lose sleep
hmm
because He can
oh yeah.
awaken you and say, get up, start
hmm
writing, do this. And that's just part of just being that obedient servant that we commissioned ourselves to be. So I'm very proud of you. What advice do you have, Lady Dr. Dawn? I think that's how what I'm going to call you. For those who
And
are
that's
watching, and they're trying to make a decision about being obedient because they've got all these different roles. Some of them are similar to yours. What can you say to them um, that will encourage them at this time? What can you say?
I would say that, whatever is in your heart, that's what you follow. I have always been, like I said, wanting to go back to school, was in school, and just took a shift from what I was doing and went on and trusted the God and someone else who believed in me. And I think that for anyone who is contemplating going back to school, I'll be 57 this year. So, and like I said, a mother of two and a pastor's wife. That if you put God first, and this is what my grandmother gave, the advice she always gave me: if you put God first, you always do anything that you desire to do. And I truly believe that if it's something that you really want to do, you trust God with it, and the fact that if He's leading you, then you can make it. I'm a living testimony about that because if you had told me a couple of years ago that I would be Dr. Dawn, not just Dr. Dawn, but Dr. Dawn in ministry with a degree
Hmm.
in ministry, I would have laughed at you and like, nah, that ain't what I'm trying to do because it wasn't what I was trying to do. But I see the value of it in what I'm doing now. And I say to anyone, if it's in your heart to do it. Trust
Hmm.
God and do it.
Just and pray about it. Go to God in prayer, and really take the time to seek advice from Him. He'll let you
Yeah.
know if that's the right thing He wants you to do, and then
Oh
things will
yeah,
start.
and believe you me, and I'm gonna tell you, he will answer quickly. And sometimes, you have to just step out on faith too. Sometimes God will be like, "This is the door," and you can't hesitate. You just have to trust and keep it moving, which is what I had to do because the time I was given the opportunity to the time I actually said made the commitment to be in class was a short turnaround.
Mm.
And so a lot of times the door is there for you to walk through, but you can't hesitate. You have to really trust and then to pray. Always pray and trust.
Always. We're in 2024, and there are a lot of folks who maybe didn't have the best 2023. So they're looking forward to what 2024 can offer them. And just listening to you and all the roles that you are currently, operating in, and then God gave you the desires of your heart. That's the kind of God that we serve. Gave you the time to do it, gave you the encouragement, open up the door. What he really wants, as we are encouraging other people, is to believe that it can be done. Because
Mhm.
with God's help, we can do this. Now, is it going to be easy? No.
No, no, by no means. As a matter of fact, I as a matter of fact, after getting the degree, it seems like it's gotten harder.
Yes,
It's
yes.
like the
It's,
challenges start to be a little harder, but it
mm-hmm.
comes with the territory, though.
It does. It does. And I'm sure that it's very fulfilling. And as we are moving and just continuously growing, a lot of people have growing pains, as we're continuously growing, then it should get a little bit easier at times as we understand that there's a price you have to pay, but it's a good price. And
Yeah,
that one person's life who's changed because of you being obedient is going to make it all worthwhile.
yeah, and you have to think about that when you are doing the things that you're doing. The what your life is like. I said, we have to look at ourselves in God's eyes and the things that we're doing, and it's not necessarily maybe for you, but for definitely for the people that you will be helping. You have to
Yes,
think about them sometimes.
yes. And right after I became Dr. Obi, I remember looking in the mirror and say, God, is this for real? Is this for real? Is this really, is this for real? And it is. And I start to praise and say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for allowing this to happen. And thank you for giving me the courage. And I know you understand exactly what I'm saying, the courage and the ability to study for 12, 13, 14, 15 hours a day and write however many hours, but it's for a purpose. He gets the
Hmm.
glory. He
Oh
gets
yeah,
the glory.
most
He gets the
definitely.
glory. And then we get to do his will and be impactful because people need good role models. I had one role model in my family, um, and I'm just grateful to be able to reflect on her life. She was the one who encouraged. She didn't even know it. She was my encourager many, many, many years later. She's gone on to be with the Lord, but she was an encourager. So, who was your encourager? Who encouraged you, other than your dean?
Well, I think my children they were encouraging. My grandmother who's now deceased, but just her memory of her telling me, put God first, everything you can do anything, and literally I live my life like that. I do believe that. She used to share that with me when I was a little girl, and she always said, put God first, and you can do anything. And I believed her and trusted her and like I said, my dean, my professor, she was encouraging the whole time. She always called all of us doctors. She never addressed us anything other than doctor. I was always Dr. Mason from day one. The day I stepped in that class, I was Dr. Mason, and she never wavered from that. And so my from the dean, from my children, from my professor, everyone who was involved in this process were encouraging to me.
So now we have to do the work.
Yes,
We have
the
to
work
wake
has
up
to
every
be
day. The work now is to be done. And
Yes.
we have to be obedient and say, whatever it is we need to do, whatever it is that you call me to do today, I need to be open. I need to be
Yes.
open to it and
Mm-hmm.
allow him to and lead you and guide you so that someone else may be encouraged. That's the part that I like. It's the part that I
Yes.
like. And it's very fulfilling. And I'm very proud of you. You and I met at a banquet.
Yes.
And yeah,
It was the first ladies' banquet.
it was the First Lady's banquet. And we were charged to sit at a table with someone we did not know.
Mm-hmm.
That was what we were charged to do. And I did not know you, or you did not know me. So eventually we gravitated towards each other. You had your daughter with you, you had someone else. And we sat there, and when the music started, we began to sing and harmonize.
Yes. I listened to you sing and I started to harmonize with you.
Hmm.
That is how we
And
met.
that's how we met. And your
Mhm.
daughter and she had an acute sense. Her head would turn to the side. I don't know if she was helping us with the notes or whatever, but I knew she was interested, not knowing that she was a songbird. And we're going to have to talk to her because she's doing amazing things as well. So I'm just encouraged in 2024 that we just need to continue forward and we do not need to give up. Every
Yes,
single
ma'am.
day or every other day, something may happen to make us kind of feel, a little discouraged. But when I go back and read those inspirational moments, I get a little bit more encouragement. And I know that God has a plan. He really does. He really does. So, as we're beginning to move towards the end of our broadcast tonight, what else do you want to say, Dr. Dawn? Because I know that you have a heart and you love kids and you love older people and you have a heart and you're stepping into the new place. What what else do you want to say to us tonight?
I just want to say that, it's 2024, and from what I've been hearing, it's the season of open doors. And I am encouraging everyone who is listening and watching to not be afraid to go through those open doors, because you will be surprised what may be waiting for you in that, on the other side of that open door. Like I said, I am a living testimony of walking out on faith, not knowing exactly what I was doing. I was challenged. This whole year process was challenged, stretched, cried some, laughed a lot, but look at me. I am Dr. Dawn. And if
Yes.
it is your desire, whatever it is, I encourage you to step out. Do not be afraid. And it will be challenging, because when God asks us to do stuff, it's not always easy. I'll be the first to tell you, it's never easy when God asks you to do something, because it's
Mhm.
whatever He's asking you to do, it's going to stretch you, and but it's going to help you develop you and just move you forward in the direction where you are to be going. And a lot of times you discover your purpose in the process. And so I just want to encourage each of you to live your life authentically and loud. And I heard the best quote during the Christmas holiday. This gentleman was saying there are three types of people. There are people that will encourage you, there are people who will hate on you, and then there are people who are spectator and wanting to see what it is you're doing. But in all three instances, give them a good show, because it's your life, and give them a good show. If they're watching you, give them a show that they will never forget. And so
Mhm.
that's what I encourage each of you to live your life authentically and give everyone a good show.
Give it all you got.
Yes, because they
Be
are definitely
unfor
watching. Yes, because they are
be
watching.
unforgettable. Hmm.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
something you said earlier, I want to go back to for just a minute. We've got a couple of minutes, because you made a point about during the stretching time. It does
Mm-hmm.
not feel good during the stretching time,
Oh no. Mm-mm.
but it is my belief that is during that time, God is sitting back and saying, let's see what she's going to do with this. Let's
Uh-huh.
see if she's going to move through it or is she going to give up. Why is moving through the stretching time so important for your growth and for my growth and for others? Why is it important, Dr. Don?
It's
Pushing through
important
it.
because for me, I think it really shows your character, and then also too, it shows you your own strength.
Yes.
Your tenacity, the ability to endure things that may not be comfortable but beneficial in the end. Everything is a learning process for me. It is, I discover that every day that there's something new that I'm learning about my own self. But, it takes a lot of heart a lot of times, and we don't always understand how God works because He don't always tell us what He's going to do. He just does it. And He doesn't ask either if you feel like doing it. He's like, you're going to do this because this is needed.
Mhm.
You have to know your own strength. And a lot of times, going outside of the box and being stretched outside the box really shows you who you are
Absolutely.
as
And
a
it
person.
also, absolutely. And it also allows you to have faith and lean on God.
Very much
When
so.
I'm being stretched, sometimes I don't even know what to do next, but I know who has me. I'm
Yes,
not going to give
ma'am.
up because I know He's not going to give up on me. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
So this has been such a great and inspirational. We're going to follow you on Instagram at first LADAY Don. And I'm sure that you're going to have some followers after tonight. But I'm so proud of you from the day we sat at the table until now. It's been a journey, it's been a transformation, lots of transitions, but God is faithful. So I'm glad, so glad you decided to join us to
Yes,
encourage
ma'am.
others from your mommy ministry to your Dr. Don ministry. I'm so happy for you. And we're at the end of our show, and I know that there have been some people who've been really encouraged. I'm always encouraged when someone pushes through and becomes a great role model, and we're still representing God, which is also an amazing thing. So now that we're at the end of our show, Dr. Don, I say the same thing every week because I want to encourage someone else and encourage myself and encourage you. We have to learn to trust the process,
Yes, ma'am.
and we have to learn to trust God in order for the power of transformation to do its perfect work in our lives. God's got us, so we're going to be okay. And that's all we have for tonight. Thank you for joining me. First interview is Dr. Don. I'm proud of you. I'm going to be praying for you. I know great things are coming. So, everybody, I appreciate you joining us tonight, and we're going to see you next week. Have a great night, everybody. Bye bye.
Good night.